Hello, everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
Back.
We are back.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta go out and hold up.
Come on. The lion. The lion. New man on the so fine. Kirk Cousins.
All right. I am Janae Strother.
I am Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, decked out in that blue, baby. Decked out in that blue because we finally got the W. As you know who it is, it's your boy Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And today it's the Roundtable. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest with us. But before we introduce my guy, I got to go ahead and shout out the host on this show. You know her as the host of the longest running segment on the Roundtable, Diversity with Delilah. Delilah Crespo. Yeah. And Mr. Nicholas, I want the smoke, Rosario.
Oh, yeah, baby. Another beautiful Tuesday in Chicago. It's cold as hell outside, and, man, I need to smoke. Just keep me warm.
Here we go. Oh, I like that. I like that. And as I alluded to earlier, our special guest, my guy, Mr. Bobby, five-time, 5 in a row, Bobby Wills. What up, Bobby?
Can't feel my face.
Right.
Yeah, buddy.
It's frozen from the shock.
Yo, gotta shout out to people that are watching. Mr. Fingers, Anthony Handy is watching. And ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Handy has created some shirts for the show, The Roundtable, and the host on here.
You can see mine. What's up?
And Nicholas have his shirts on. Ladies and gentlemen, you can get these from Mr. Anthony Handy, Zagnif Productions. We'll give you all that specs. Anthony, you already know. Put it in the chat. I'll post it on here. We'll do it like this. They're good shirts. You guys said, hey, the material's good.
Yep.
It's good. Yeah.
Comfy, it's big. I'm a big guy, so I like a comfy shirt. Cotton good. Make me feel good. Make me sweat. Go make me wet. No, never mind.
Back out. There you go. Hey, my guy, Anthony has a bunch of this stuff going on. He has shoes, he has shirts, he has those little koozies that you can drink while you're doing it. He has it all. Definitely check him out. Waiting on him to sit here and just put that in. Anthony, put all the info in the chat, and I'll share it on here. Also want to shout out some people watching us. Dave, Mr. David Wright.
Sure. What up, Dave?
Hold up, Dave.
That guy.
We want Dallas.
Mr. Dallas, right.
You know what week it is.
Cowboys.
Let's get it. Let's absolutely get it. Yo, you know what week it is. It's that time of the week. Real quick. What's going on, Katie? With Tom Brady's biggest fan over here. You look good in a Honolulu blue, Sean.
Katie, what's up?
I'm repping your neck of the woods. This is Detroit.
Right.
Honolulu blue.
Hey, good job by your Wolverines there, Katie. Very happy about where Michigan is right now.
Yes.
Go Wolverines.
Real quick. While I got you here, Katie, Bobby, I know you've been talking a little bit about it. Nick, I know you follow. Delilah, I know you follow. What do they have a chance? I mean, I think they're pretty solid, but
they are. But you know what, man? That defense is what's going to have to carry them against Georgia. Just the same way that Ohio State or that Alabama put the clamp on what's my boy's name, Mr. the Fourth, Garrett, whatever the kid's name is, Stennett, whatever the quarterback.
Oh, Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
The mailman.
They're going to have to. It's the same way. I think that's going to be the big key. And the Michigan defense is good enough to do it. They got to get it done. That's going to be the big thing. And then, of course, they got to run that running back till he can't run no more on Georgia. Yeah, I think that's the best way for them to win is the defense, the old school way of football, defense and running. I think that's how Michigan wins that game against Georgia.
Honestly, and Bobby, I'm coming to you. Honestly, I think they kind of have a kind of similar kind of thing going. They rely on great defense. We know about Georgia's defense, but hey, just like Katie said, you got a Heisman finalist. Aiden Hutchinson is a monster, and a lot of people he overshadows the number 55 on the other side of Joby. This man is dominant, man. If you saw him in the Ohio State game, he balled out. So they both have good defense. They both have solid running games, and they both kind of have quarterbacks that we'll see.
Not so great, but
not so great. But they can
so I mean, Bobby, what do you agree? I mean, do you think it's going to be a close knit, or do you think what is it going to take for Michigan to win?
I think first half will be close, maybe 10-7, 13-10, something like that. But the second half, it might open up a little bit and really see whose defense can clamp down, basically. And somebody will open up and probably might become maybe 2-score game.
It's gonna be interesting.
I mean, Delilah, nobody else. Oh, good. Sorry, Delilah.
Delilah, what do you think?
No, I think it'll be fun. Honestly, I hope they do win because it'll be great to see a Big Ten team beat an SEC team. You know what I mean? So, like, that would be fantastic. Finally, Harbaugh will get the overdue. Like, he's been working so hard, and everybody knows that on that football team for so long to bring them where they are now. He had bumpy roads. We know that, right? So where they are and to keep pushing, and honestly, I hope they do get the W. It'll be great. I mean, no offense to SEC teams because I know Anthony Handy and stuff, but like I think people get tired, right? And it's like let's see a new blood win, especially the Wolverines. Honestly, it'll be great.
It'll be interesting. Obviously, I cannot root for them because I have other affiliations.
Of course you do.
But I said, it's going to be a good game. Hey, it's going to be a good game. On the other side is Cincinnati and Alabama. All intents and purposes, a lot of people are thinking Alabama's going to run with it. I'm hoping my team, Cincinnati. Hey, I mean, when we talk about football, when we talk about certain things, Alabama's, they're good, but they're young. Cincinnati's got a bunch of 3-year starters that have been playing together. Football like that, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
Saban has 4 weeks to prepare. Cincinnati might not even bother showing up.
That is the X factor.
I know that is
Saban is a genius. I'll definitely give you that. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, Anthony Handy has put it in the chat. Obviously, you're going to probably have to screenshot that. You're not going to be able to get it from here, but definitely here. I'll try to put it in the link on the show and definitely get it here. Annie says, I don't. We are starving. 41 years since the last national championship.
All right, Georgia. We'll see.
Because if Sean's roots for Georgia, then he'll be relegated to the practice squad. See that, Anthony?
Wow. There you go.
See that, Anthony? See that? Yo, let's go ahead and move on. We always start the show with birthdays. And, hey, we got a special birthday today. Larry Legend. One of the greatest basketball players of all time. Definitely one of the greatest of his era. This man, if you don't know
top 50
him,
of all time.
Go back. Yeah. I mean, I think we're all of the age. We're all of the age where we saw a little bit of him. I got a lot of Larry. So more. Yeah.
I'm older than you boys and girls. I saw a lot of Larry.
Well, yeah. And he look, he's a monster. Like, let's be honest with you. He was amazing. And for all intents and purposes, look, in a sport that was dominated by guys that look like me, he did his thing. And everybody, repeat after me, everybody was scared of this man.
Yep.
Okay. They'd probably still be scared of him because I guarantee his knees are probably bad, but he can still shoot the damn ball.
Maybe except for Mike.
Mike. Come on.
These are shots. It was more like, his era was more him and Magic Johnson. They were about that's when Magic was coming in and rising.
Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, so it was like, same time. They were in that 79 game.
That's what I'm saying. Like Magic,
State. Those boys.
But he was still there. He was like, Magic coming in, and
those boys, man, watching those two play each other all the time was great.
Oh, I love you too, Katie.
Basketball as a whole was a lot better.
Watching the Lakers play the Celtics in the
very true.
80s was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. Basketball was definitely a lot better back then. We all know and could talk about it for a while.
Elbow someone in the face.
Right.
Nothing was called.
After they hit each other, they went after their families. It was terrible. They play back then, man.
Right here, Dave said that duel between him and Dominique was something special. Yes, those Atlanta
Dominique Wilkins
versus Boston things.
For sure.
Definitely. The dirty era of basketball, but it was better. It was
dirty era of basketball. Call it what you want.
Let's get it. So, we are going to move on. Katie, I am so glad that you are here with us. You see what I'm wearing. You call it Honolulu Blue. I call it Victory Blue. The Detroit Lions, ladies and gentlemen, have got the W. And hey, real quick, we need to, most people take a moment of silence when somebody dies or somebody loses, but they got a W. Let's take a moment of silence. Slow clap, baby.
Wow.
Detroit
undefeated in
Lions.
December.
This household has been through some things. At one point, Washington was 2-6, and Detroit was winless. Washington has started to turn things around, but Detroit hadn't got it done. They had a tie, but that wasn't a W. This week was amazing, but I got to tell you, I need y'all to pray for my babe because she had to deal with not only a Detroit win, which is nice on one side, but like I talked to you about, Delilah, before the show, her favorite quarterback and lifelonger, Mr. Kirk Cousins from Michigan State University, was the quarterback of the Vikings, who was the one that took the L, and it hurt. It hurt her. She didn't even want to watch the game.
I was wondering about that. I know that's the point.
It was rough. It was rough. She didn't want to hear about the game. She didn't want to talk about it. Thank you for the line. So I will rep it. Got my very old school Barry Sanders jersey.
There you go.
With my super hot winter
Last
hat.
time they won a playoff game was Mr. Sanders.
Hey, Barry got it done. Let's get it done. Hey, shout out to him. I'm glad they got the first win. Really? I know maybe a lot of people have seen the little memes or whatever. They're technically, mathematically, and they're out. Okay? They're going for the first draft pick. Now, my only wish right now, this is my Christmas wish for the Detroit Lions, please, do not start winning games so you'll knock yourself out of first place. Get the daggone first pick and do at least trade it or do something with it.
Yeah.
Y'all start winning.
The Jets.
Right. If you give the Jets that first pick again, because they are, if I'm not
mistaken,
they
already have like three.
They got three. Yes.
The Jets are set.
Three picks.
Right. So, Detroit, come on, guys. I'm not going to spend that much time on you because at the end of the day, you still have double-digit losses and only one win. So,
a win and a tie.
Say it again, Bobby.
1 day short of a full calendar year without winning.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's all.
Detroit.
They got one win, one tie. Don't forget they also tied.
Yes, that's right. Yes. They did tie.
Not a loss.
There's 2 games that they did not lose, and that's all we can ask for.
2 games they did not lose. There it is.
It's all about perspective.
Ironically, they beat and tied the 2 teams that are playing this Thursday, Minnesota and Pittsburgh.
There you go.
Their last 2 games, and now those 2 teams are playing each other on Thursday.
And those are 2 teams that both need W's.
So we talked earlier about
Minnesota in that one.
Yeah, we talked earlier. Yeah, we talked earlier about Aiden Hutchinson. And this guy is he's one of the 4 Heisman finalists, which is rare because a defensive end being a Heisman finalist is something that never happens. This guy is playing out of his mind, absolutely out of his mind. And as that would be, he would probably be one of the first picks who might go to the Lions. My girl Katie saying, please, even though she's a diehard Lions fan, she's saying, please don't bring him here.
You think they're gonna pick? You think they're gonna go defense though? First round pick? I don't know.
Last year they got Penei Sewell, who was actually pretty solid. But it's about
that's what I mean. So, I don't know.
Everybody in
you got to start somewhere, Katie. You got to start somewhere. You got to build a team there.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the route they'll go though, because they need other things.
They have.
But some of you wouldn't pass on Aiden Hutchinson though if he popped
a lot. Well, we'll see. They have a lot.
Just saying, like that kid could be, game changing.
But you
and
this is Detroit.
Bam,
Right.
yeah, well, right. They also picked Charles Rogers. Saw that work for him. Bam fans are salty. Their boy did make the finalists. Will Anderson Jr. Leads the country in sacks, if I'm not mistaken. He's a baller, and nobody seems to talk about it. Everybody talks about the guy from Oregon, Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, Anthony, your guy, Jordan Davis, Big Baby. They all talk about these guys, and they're balling out. But, you know, this guy for Alabama, I mean, maybe you go as far as your team goes, and since his team has played well under what everybody expected them to play this season, I think maybe he's not getting the attention, but he's a monster, man. He's a monster. Oh, yeah, I know you talk about Big Baby. We know. But look, we have to move on to a game that actually meant something. Yes, my Detroit Lions game did not mean anything, Bobby. And this is a game that directly relates to your plight as a Dolphins fan. The Patriots beat the Bills in a windy, snowy game, 14-10, and Mac Jones threw 3 passes.
Mac Jones.
2 of them completed for 19 yards. Bobby, how you feeling, man?
You know, honestly, like I said last night, I wanted the Bills to win. Probably just because of the fact I don't like the Patriots. But, you know, that game with the win, everything, like, it went basically how everybody thought. I didn't think Mac Jones would only attempt 3 passes, but when they got that big run with Damian Harris, 64 yards, you know, to start the game, and then they just kept it on the ground all night, and it was good enough. But at the end, they were giving the Bills every opportunity to win, and they just couldn't do it.
They were.
Right. They absolutely were, man. Like, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. And Nick, like, you know, like David said, they gave every opportunity to win. It's not like the Bills weren't getting into the red zone. The Bills were definitely getting down there, but that bend but don't break defense of New England, and also playing in that inclement weather. You know.
Yeah.
They'll see each other again in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they do play again in 2 weeks, but yeah. I mean, it's bend don't break, and that's exactly what happened. And see, that's the thing. Like, one of the things we talked about early on in the season was that, you know, New England got 8 starters back who sat out for COVID last year. So this is not the same defense you had last year for the Patriots. Their starters came back, and these guys, and they were amped to play. I mean, yeah, there was a couple times where, again, Buffalo has to make plays, and they had their opportunities to do that. Again, this is kind of, and again, I know people will say, well, the inclement weather and the wind and all this, but this is another instance where Josh Allen did not come through for his team. And again, I'm not just putting it on him, but I'm saying the offense has to take some blame for this loss yesterday. You had opportunity to make plays, an opportunity, like you said, the Patriots tried to give you the game towards the end, and you didn't take advantage. And that a championship caliber team takes advantage of those types of things. And I just think it's another thing where you look at Buffalo and go, wow, what's going on over there? You're 7-5 now, and you're sitting in what, the 7th position?
7th. Yep.
Yeah, so you're really you're another loss away from possibly having somebody overtake you in that 7th wild card spot. Right, we know, Bobby. We know golf. 6 and 7, buddy. We know. But I'm just saying, you now put yourself in a position where one more loss and you could be right out of it. Whereas the beginning of the year, people were saying you were going to go to the Super Bowl. So I think Buffalo, it's time to look inside themselves and figure out what they need to do these last 5 games to pick it up and, you know, get back on the horse. But definitely a good win for the Patriots, bad loss for the Bills. And again, we'll see what happens going forward. But hey, you know, Belichick put a game plan in and it worked. Regardless of how the last 5-6 minutes was played out, the end result is Patriots win, Buffalo lose.
Oh yeah.
And look, Delilah, it looked ugly to us. You know, we tend to look at the glamour, the quarterback, that, you know, 2 for 3, 19 yards, but at the same time, steady dose of the running game.
Oh no, I was just
reliable. No, I'm not saying you say. I was just saying in general. I was just.
I'm just glad I didn't waste my time watching it. I'm sorry.
No, yeah.
I would have been.
It was like watching paint dry. Yeah, it was not.
Yeah, it's one of those games.
So it's all good. I mean, honestly, like the fact that their kicker missed the 33-yard field goal, that, man, it's not just offense. Like they got, I mean, your kicker shouldn't be missing 33-yard field goals.
Into that win though,
I'm just saying though, but to be But I'm just saying they're getting, like everyone said here, right? They were put into multiple opportunities to win, right? You kick that 33, it would have been a different score, right? 14 or 13. Or like even others people said, why did they go for it? Like, I don't know.
I thought they should have.
Maybe if it was a different quarterback, I would have been like, don't go for it. But it's like you don't trust Josh Allen, who at least in this game has one touchdown and had 149 yards in that wind, in that weather. Like regardless, he had 149 yards and a touchdown. So I don't know. I think in that sense, I think that was a bad call. Like I feel like they could have passed, because we know the run is different, right? It wasn't like Bill was stopping that like all over the place, right? He was just stomping on their running game. But to not pass that close with Josh Allen and the receivers that he has, that to me is what cost them the game, really, more than just, settling for the field goal. I mean, might as well, because they still lost. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He had a touchdown. He had 149 yards in inclement weather, right? That we keep talking about. So I think that in that case too, that was a failure of I don't know who their play caller is, if it's their offensive coordinator or their head coach.
Brian Dable.
Whoever that was. That was not a good. That was not a bad. That was a bad call in my opinion, because if you're gonna lose, at least lose gambling, right? I guess only Riverboat does that.
We'll see. Some people do it. Hey, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I kind of saw this a little differently, because Delilah, thank you. You were the one who sent in the group chat the weather prior to the game. And I was talking to Bill, Bobby about that on the show, about how the snow and the wind and how that thing played into effect. And we look at what Bill Belichick did, and he basically played an offense that said, we are not going to make a mistake.
Nope.
You know what I mean? And that's what they did. They played a conservative ball, which is in any other circumstance would have been stupid. Like, what are you doing? You're running the ball 50
Not in this case.
But in that weather, in that situation, and relying on my defense, my running game, and them to make mistakes, and them to do this and that, and he knows the weather, he knows those things. Listen, this is one of those other reasons where you're just like, you look at it sometimes, you're like, what are you doing? But then after a while, you analyze it, you're like, damn, this guy's kind of a genius. Like, he kind of knows what the heck he's doing.
When the Bills coughed it up on the opening drive of the game too, on that handoff to Brady.
Yeah.
Just put it right on the ground.
So
that just
on the ground.
Set everything else in motion, I guess.
Belichick rode
maybe
what
a
was
little
working.
bit.
That's what.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots did take it back and score. So
at one point, they had run 39 consecutive running plays before they threw a pass. I think his second pass was 39 handoffs later.
Yeah,
after his first one,
basically.
We'll probably go the rest of our lives without seeing something like that.
But that just showed you that it was working.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to sit there and go, man, why did you run so much? Well, in that weather and the way that it was going, it worked. And even though they couldn't stop score, long drives, like they were going deep into, they were taking 7-8 minutes of a drive just because they were taking clock and everything. Like, it just it worked. You said it, and in the end, even though it was a little sloppy at the end, and again, then it makes everybody starts talking the genius talk about Belichick. That was a genius game plan, Bill. And again, there was some element, of course, that there was that, but it's just funny that like they went 14-10 in a game where they passed 3 times. So there you go.
Anthony Handy said last game with fewer passes.
It was 60. It was in 68, and it was Kansas City.
Nice.
Nick was close, because he was close because he said 60s because the announcer was talking about it at the same time.
Yeah, they were talking about it. I thought I heard.
Yeah, it was 68, and it was Kansas City, and they tied.
And they won that game too. Are they tied?
Well, no, I mean it's a tie. Sorry, I mean.
Okay.
Yes, they also won.
Sure they won the
yeah, they also won, but no, I mean the
3 passes.
Now look, this game plan has worked before. If you remember, about 2 or 3 years ago, San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship, Garoppolo went through 8 passes? 6?
6
Wasn't it 6? That running game was through. That's when Raheem Mostert had his big day where he balled out.
Right.
They ended up running their way into the Super Bowl, which they ended up losing to the Chiefs. Lost money on that game. Keep moving on. But yeah, so that definitely played in. And as we saw now, the New England Patriots, one game ahead of everybody. They're 9-4. A lot of their teams are 8-4. And like you said yesterday, Bobby, Buffalo now comes down to that 7th seed, if I'm not mistaken.
They are. They're 7.
They're in that 7th seed, which we will definitely talk about later. And what that does, if I'm not mistaken, is it somewhat opens the door for a team that might potentially be on a run. Buff Miami.
They're on a heater, that's for sure, right?
5-game winning streak. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know, I wish that we could make a movie just on our group chat, okay? Because some of the stuff that's said in there is hilarious. I am telling you.
Sure.
But I got to shout out my guy, Bobby, man, because a couple weeks ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago, him and I both were sitting down there in the gutter, just like, why are we even, watching football this year?
Fantasy teams were terrible. Real teams were terrible.
But Bobby, what happened, Bobby? What turned y'all around, man?
Started playing better defense.
Yes.
Started taking care of the football. And, granted, only one of those 5 wins is against a winning team, which was Baltimore.
Hey.
But
schedule helps.
Yeah, it does. And, the next 3 are definitely very winnable games. And then, of course, the Patriots at the end. I got to put it on defense more than anything. Javon Holland started balling out. He's a rookie. Jalen Phillips started balling out. He's a rookie. The rest of the guys, Jalen Waddle's old reliable. Like, he actually had a drop in the last game, but that never happens for him. Keep waddling.
Mr. Wild.
But and goes back to Tua. He's just protecting the ball now. He's making smart decisions. He's not going to be flashy, but he's deadly accurate with the ball. He's completing 8 out of 10 of passes. So pretty much everything he throws is complete. And they'll move the ball down the field, and that's how you win football games.
Yeah. Absolutely. And absolutely. Look, and Bob, we have all kind of gotten on your quarterback, and I talked to you about him yesterday. But like you said, man, he's efficient. He's getting the job done. Like, going forward, we've heard the rumors about Russ. We've heard the rumors about getting other people in here. Are you ready to just say, to hell with that? This is my guy.
With all the Deshaun Watson stuff that was going on, I feel like as soon as that quieted down, finally, that's when Tua started balling.
Yeah.
And that just so happens to be about 5 weeks ago. So, once he got that elephant out of the room, then, the distractions are gone, and he says, okay, I'm going to be the guy here, and I'm going to prove it. And he's doing it.
Yeah. Look, you guys are balling out, man. You guys are absolutely balling out. Nick, man, I was talking to Bobby yesterday about the games and about the things that they're dealing with. We know what New England is doing, but as you've talked about, Nick, Buffalo, it's just they're not reliable this year. They're not reliable. Do you think
they're disappointing? But go ahead, finish your statement.
I was saying, do you think Miami could?
Well, here's
are you going to hop on with us?
Well, as Bobby said, the rest of the schedule, I believe it was Titans. And who else you got in the next 3?
Titans. No,
Jets
they have
after
a bye. They have a bye week. Yeah.
Jets after the bye. Titans,
Tennessee, and then New England at home.
Then New England at home. So, as Bobby said, these are 4 potential winning games, which would put the Dolphins at 10-7 if they were to win these last 4 games. Now, obviously, you take a game at a time. Is the Jets winnable? Absolutely. Titans with the weapons out, sure. Miami could get the W there. Saints, you never know which Saints team is going to show up. So, that's a possible W there as well. And then you got to deal with the pesky old Patriots. So, again, it's just 1 week at a time. Miami has proven that they are resilient, if nothing else. You're 1-7.
See,
you know what I mean? And you just pop off 5 wins in a row, regardless of who you're playing. That shows you something. And that
If
tells
the
you
Patriots have number one lockdown going into the final game, do they rest their starters? Do they make it easier on them?
Bill Belichick. No, this is
He
Bill.
doesn't
He'll
rest.
stop on
He
your neck.
doesn't rest
Yeah, he doesn't do
nobody.
that.
Yeah.
He's not doing that. That Belichick's playing, baby. You know that.
Yeah.
He's not. No, Belichick. Will
He
step
never
on your neck.
he never
But then
rested Brady.
even on the flip side,
Yeah.
do you really even worry about him resting his starters? It's not like it's Tom Brady over here. Don't you guys have a win over
Hey,
him?
you remember the Miami Miracle,
Tom
buddy?
Brady.
Let's
Right, that's
go.
what I'm saying. Like,
Miami
I'm
Miracle.
not worried about Brady.
Right. We're not worried about Tom.
Definitely not worried
No, but
about Mac Jones.
again,
Come on.
I don't say that I'm jumping on the Miami bandwagon in terms of like, but Sean, I love the Tua Waddle connection. I mean, I love all those connections that we have in the NFL right now of college guys, quarterbacks playing with like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddell and Tua Tagovailoa. Like, you love to see that, man. And these guys, and they're balling, and that's what you want to see. The Dolphins are competitive now. And see this, here's what this does, though. Even if you don't make the playoffs this year, this sets you up nicely for next year for starting fresh. Everybody's a year more experienced.
Right.
Everybody's set in their role, and then you just go forward, man. You try to improve the team in the draft, get the pieces you need, free agency, whatever, and bam, you're off and rolling. So, again, it's a positive thing when you can win 5 games in a row in any league at any time. And I think especially with this team being a young team, you rattled off 5 wins in a row, man. Hey, I'm impressed with that alone. But again,
more power
you got a
to
shot
for
now.
sure.
You put yourself in a position. So now it becomes, well, what are you going to do? Can you show up?
Yeah.
Can you prove that you're not just some flash in the pan? You know?
Right. And so that's why I want to pose that question to you, Delilah. Like Dave said, I mean, can they win 9? I mean, they're on a roll. Something to be said for that momentum. But
here's what's interesting is that they and the Colts are both in a bye this week. And when they come back, both these teams are in a fight with Pittsburgh, which I'm sure Sydney, who's watching, is happy also. So I just feel like there's just too much going on, and each of these teams are playing teams that should be winnable, but also teams that can possibly challenge them, because a lot of these teams are really weird. So not the Jets, but like a lot of these teams are. You don't know who's going to show up, right? And then we've seen it happen where we laugh and we're like, oh, this should be winnable, and then they lose. We've seen it all season, right? We've seen where the better team, who we're saying is going to get the W, all the experts go, they're going to win. And what's happening, because we talk about it. Honestly, it's very true. It's just like the movie. Any given Sunday is 100% accurate. And obviously we have other days, not just Sunday, but it still applies.
Right.
You're still playing another NFL team. And so if you go in there, especially these teams who are vying for those last 2 seeds, because that's really what this fight is for. The other teams are fighting for, are they going to maintain 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Maybe 5, right? So it's like the rotation between 1 through 5. Like, who will be number 1 because they want to buy. It used to be back in the day where 1 and 2 used to both get buys. Not anymore, right? That was a while ago. Now that doesn't happen. Only the number 1 seed gets to buy. Yeah. And 2 has to play. But 2 plays 7. So is that like a buy? Is what they're kind of saying, right? But then you imagine being a 2 seed and getting knocked out by a number 7 seed. I know that bothers a lot of people, right?
Well, and that's the thing. And I think in the AFC, it's a lot different. I mean, the NFC, we have all talked about
it's pretty locked down,
Arizona is by far ahead, and you have the next couple teams that are in there.
I feel it's going to be Green Bay and Arizona duking it out to the end.
In the AFC, that top those top couple games are only
might move around. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So anybody really can be beaten. If we really break it down. So
I'm just saying I'm saying like the rotation on the top 3 might change for the AFC.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm agreeing with you. I'm absolutely agreeing with you.
But those last spots, they're up for grabs. Like 6 and 7 for me. I think 6 and 7, 100%. Those last 2 seeds are up for grabs. Maybe even 5 of those teams actually continue to lose, right? But honestly, I just think it's tough. It's tough. Honestly, the Colts are playing, to me, a really strong football, which I know Sean believes in the Colts, and I don't blame them. They have a beast in Jonathan Taylor. Jesus Christ, my God, alone. He's like, he had 2 weeks ago, 5 touchdowns, right? Or something. Like, it's insane. Like, all Wentz has to do is pass that kid the ball, right? And we know he's gonna go, right?
Interesting
so
down the stretch. I believe.
I feel like
sure.
that's what's gonna come down to. Honestly, it's just it's gonna go to the last week, in my opinion, for a lot of these last teams. Like, it's gonna go to week 18 because that's how far we go now, right?
Hey, and that's the way we want it.
That's what's gonna happen. Week 18, a lot of these teams, you have to win and make it. If you lose, you're out. Like, seriously, that's just
there it is. That's the way it should be.
Control your own destiny.
Agreed.
Hey, Bobby, David Wright has said if you guys keep Pitt out the playoffs, he said I'll never make fun of your fantasy team again this season. Dave, you listen to this season part, Dave.
I don't know. I feel like the Colts have a better shot at that, but we'll see.
I can't wait till he loses on Sunday.
Right.
Let's go.
To Minnesota.
Yo, my guy Brandon Davis said Saints 29% chance to get the top 10 pick. Who that? I'm sorry.
Who that?
Yeah, who that gonna be?
Who that quarterback gonna be next year?
Yeah, that's good. That's what they're gonna be looking.
Right, who that?
Can't leave him alone for 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness, yo!
Who that on
Appreciate
offense?
you
I don't
guys
recognize
here
anybody.
in the comments. Yo, Bobby, at the end of the day, 5 in a row. You know what?
It's still good. I mean, kudos.
A lot of people that they like to sit here and jump on this time, and you started this way, you started that way. It's when you're playing well, and right now,
how you finish.
If it's how you guys
get
are
hot
playing,
at the right time.
Exactly.
Never
Exactly.
know.
And that's all it takes. That's all it takes. And look, go ahead.
Even if they don't make the playoffs, which, let's be real, they probably won't. To finish with a above 500 record after starting 1-7,
right? Exactly.
In itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And Jalen Waddle's going to break the rookie receptions record. He's only 16 away.
Ooh, 16 away.
I like that.
See,
and
that's
for the whole league.
That's where I
think it'll happen in the next 2 weeks.
I think that's where Miami can help, right? Is Tua and Waddle. We already have the connection, and I guess they need to build off of that. See what happens.
It's definitely going to be interesting. Nice. All right. Well, we are going to go ahead and move on. Next, Bobby, I'm going to keep you on the show.
Okay.
You got no opposition to that? I'm going to keep you here with us.
No opposition.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the longest running segment on.
I could be here probably another 15 minutes or so.
Okay. Bet. Well, then you will be on here with us as we go on to the longest running segment on Let's Talk Football Roundtable. Diversity with Delilah. Yeah. Roman Gabriel. Delilah.
Ooh, I'm taking it back to the 60s, y'all.
Take me back. Take me back.
Well, first of all, Roman Gabriel is the first Filipino NFL quarterback. Okay, so that's the number one, right? Because it's diversity with Delilah. So he is the first Filipino American to be an NFL quarterback, and and so that's that's one of his accolades, right? Getting in there. But all right, so he actually is a North Carolina boy. He suffered from asthma when he was younger, but that didn't stop him from excelling in sports. He ended up being a star quarterback at North Carolina State University. He was 2-time All-American selection in 1960 and 61, academic All-America selection 1961, 2-time ACC Player of the Year 1960, also 61. North Carolina Sports Hall of Fame is where he was inducted in 1971. Most Valuable Player in 1969. 1962 College All-Star Team East-West All-Star Participant. Wow. He set 22 school and 9 ACC records during his playing career as a two-way player in football. First ACC quarterback to throw for 1,000 yards in a season. In 3 seasons, threw for 19 touchdowns and ran for 15, setting the ACC record with 34 touchdowns. Led the nation in passing percentage in 1959. Still ranked 7th in career touchdown passes, 19, and completion percentage and TD responsibility, 34. So all sorts of crazy college accolades there. Also actually played baseball when he was in college as well. led North Carolina State with 5 home runs and 18 RBIs as a junior first baseman in 1961. He was so good that after he graduated college, Governor Terry Sanford retired his jersey in 1962.
Wow.
Yeah. He was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1989. And so that's a lot of his kind of college information. Gabriel was the number 1 draft pick in 1962 in the AFL draft. I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, right? They were kind of
Before
divided.
the merger.
Right before the merger, you had the AFL and the NFL. And so basically he was the number 1 pick in the AFL, and then a year later, 1962, in the NFL, he actually decided to go with the Rams. So Gabriel signed with the Rams in 1962 with the number 2 pick, excuse me. So that's kind of where he got inducted into the NFL. In 1962 through 1965, he had a difficult time securing his starting quarterback position at that time. The coach at the time, Zeke Petrosky, kind of didn't want to start him yet. And he only started Gabriel because a lot of the other quarterbacks started being injured and started getting hurt. So he finally did get to play. He did start 23 games from 1962 through 1965. The Rams record in those games was 11 wins, 11 losses, which at that time was actually pretty good for the Rams. The other Rams quarterbacks who started the other 33 games combined record only at that time had 4 wins, right? So with his 11 wins, basically kind of outplayed the other quarterbacks. And because of that, when George Allen took over as head coach in 1966, he basically was like, Gabriel, you're my starter. He started all 14 games. They went 8-6, their first winning season since 1958. Because again, remember this back in the day, so a lot of the stuff is a little different, shorter weeks, right? Not as many games and stuff like that. Anyway, in 1967, the Rams went 11-1-2 and made the playoffs as the NFL Coastal Division champions. Again, these were broken down a little different. Gabriel was named the AP Offensive Player of the Week the last 2 weeks of that season. Same year, 1967, in week 13, needing a win to keep their playoff hopes alive, Gabriel was 20 for 36 with 3 touchdowns, including the game winner. Unfortunately, they lost to the Green Bay Packers, who were the defending champions at the time. In his career with the Rams, he had an 86-64-7 record and passed for over 29,000 yards and 201 touchdowns. He is the only quarterback from this era to still rank high in the lowest interception percentage. So that guy's passes rarely got caught. Okay, so he was like, when he passed, it was pretty much accurate. So that's still one of the records here. He's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but he did make the Professional Football Researchers Association class of 2013. As I said, when he retired in 1977, he's ranked as the Rams' all-time passing leader. Still, no one has beat him. So we'll see if maybe see if Herbert could break that. But right now, he is still the Rams' all-time passing leader with 22,223 yards. Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I was thinking Chargers. But yeah, Stafford, you got a chance. 154 touchdowns. And again, threw for 7,221 yards, 45 touchdowns. Because he also played with the Eagles. So half of that was also with the Eagles. And again, he still holds that record with the Rams. No one has broken his passing record.
Kurt Warner didn't, huh? That's crazy.
Yeah. Not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but that's probably because, unfortunately, he made it to the playoffs but never won a Super Bowl. So I don't know. Or not Super Bowl. Sorry, at that time, the championship is not Super Bowl era. But he made playoffs multiple times. broke all sorts of records in the NFL. Is still considered one of the better quarterbacks, but underrated. Like no one really looks at him because he was playing for the St. Louis Rams, and it was when, the NFL was broken up into two. And yeah, no championship wins. Like broke all sorts of records. Still holds a record for the Rams that I don't know. Maybe Stafford can break, but
if he's there long enough.
No championship wins. And yeah, Kurt Warner, we know his story's coming out soon. Did not break his record. So, anyway, so there you go. Brought him back from the 60s.
Good stuff.
I can dig it. Dig it.
Good stuff.
That's not a name you hear every day.
Yeah,
No.
There's definitely those true diehard
Anthony
fans
Handy.
that are diving into the facts. Yeah.
Get me in there, coach.
I've
I
seen a lot of
had to Google him.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot.
yeah.
That's a lot of the old Steve Sable clips,
Yeah, this is
you know?
this is like old,
classic.
this was pre-Super Bowl era, as he says, before the merger. A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But we said that before. We don't know what the Pro Football Hall of Fame is looking for sometimes. Right?
Very
so
true.
They look for name recognition.
True.
But
We'll
anyway.
see. We'll see. I tell you what, Phillip Rivers better get in before Roman Gabriel. That's all I'm saying.
That's right.
Let's get it.
I agree.
Let's get it.
Let in
Yo.
Phillip Rivers.
We've got to move on to our next segment. Bobby, I got a little bit more time. Just going to run in right to it. We talked about it right before this.
As he falls asleep.
I gotta
Go
get up at
into
5:30
this.
in the morning, man.
Oh,
I hear you, brother. Hey,
Oh,
I'm
man.
living-
Oh, well,
I'm
hey,
on
I
a better
appreciate
league,
every second you give it to me,
All right.
man. Yo, and shout out to Bobby, man. He was on Let's Talk Football. He was on Let's Talk Fantasy. Now he's on the Roundtable. Who knows, man? He might make an appearance on Watching the Football Weekly tomorrow, man. We'll see what happens, man.
I can do
Hey,
Yeah, with his Dolphins gear.
yo, let's get it, because we are at a time where everybody, especially Bobby and I, are asking the question.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Just hope we can win a game. Tell him, Jim.
I didn't even have to hear the sound, and it just
Yeah.
played in my head.
Yeah.
You already knew.
Playoffs.
You already knew.
Oh, Jim,
The playoffs.
Gotta shout out my guy, man.
playoffs.
Talk about the playoffs. Yo, definitely talking about the
Are you
playoffs.
kidding me?
Yo. And hey, as we talked
That was
about,
funny.
I'm gonna go ahead and start with the AFC. As we already talked about, the Patriots have moved up one game ahead of the pack at 9-4. The Titans are number 2, tied for the second best record in the AFC at 8-4, with the 3rd seeded Ravens and the 4th seeded Chiefs. The 5th seeded Chargers move up from 7th seed after beating the Bengals, and they go to 7-5. The Cincinnati Bengals moved to 6th seed after the Bills lost, so the Bengals are 7-5 at the 6th seed, and the Buffalo Bills are still hanging on. Still hanging on at the 7th seed at 7-5. And real quick, we're going to go down and see just how many teams are on the cusp of getting in. As you've seen, our guy, Let's Talk Fantasy Football, Sydney Swinton's Pittsburgh Steelers, and his Big Ben says he can still play a couple more years. Is one game right now outside of that last spot. My team that I've talked about, I've talked about all year long, the Indianapolis Colts at 7-6. I still believe they're going to do it. The Las Vegas Raiders, the Cleveland Browns, and the Denver Broncos all tied at 6-6.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
last, but most certainly not least, before you really start getting a dip, is the Miami Dolphins at 6-7, although on that 5-game winning streak. So, Bobby, you see who's in there. You see who's not in there. Wait, actually, matter of fact, sorry about that, Bobby. Let me move this over so you can see your face. There we go. You see who's in, you see who's in there. Apologize for that. We see who's in there.
Enough of it.
Right. We see who's in there. We see who's not in there. What? I mean, obviously you want Miami, but who do you realistically think could potentially move up, or do you think this is set in stone?
With the top 4, Tennessee's slipping, Baltimore's slipping, so I don't know. I think Kansas City will end up finishing second because they're hot right now. New England's probably going to stay at 1. And then 5, 6, 7, the Chargers. You don't know which team you're going to get each week, so they could go either way. Who's at 6 again?
6 is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bengals.
Okay, same thing with them, and same thing with Buffalo. It'd be very surprising if Buffalo slips out, but it's very possible.
Yeah.
Now, who takes their spot? Cincinnati can still win that division, very, very much so.
Right.
And Baltimore could be where they are. And one of them might not make it. So who moves up? Could be Pittsburgh. It's possible for them. Colts. And then, of course, I got to throw my guys in.
Right.
So the rest, the Raiders, Browns, Broncos, I don't see them.
No. Personally think Vegas and Denver are going to probably cancel each other out. But yeah, no, I like that. I absolutely like that. And I hope, hopefully for you, Miami does get in here. Nicholas, who are the Patriots? We saw what they did last night, and they didn't blow them out, but it definitely was a coaching, solid coaching strategy. Is New England the top team in the AFC?
Yes, and I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. He has his quarterback, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it every week.
Yeah.
He got who he wanted for his offense. And you're seeing Mac Jones, regardless of what you think of him, run Bill Belichick's offense. Those plays were called. It wasn't just, you got a bad arm or something, Mac. We don't want you to throw this week. No, that was a game plan. They knew what the weather was going to be. They knew what it was like going in. They knew there was a strong wind last night, and they were successful running the ball with 3 different backs. That in itself is amazing enough. Knowing the run is coming and you still can't stop it, as good as Buffalo's defense is, because that's what happened. Like I told you, at one point they ran 39 consecutive times.
Yeah.
And you just couldn't, and again, I get it. The one was a real long run, the 64-yard run by Harris that scored the touchdown, fine. But then what about the rest of the game? When they were just getting first downs and extending drives and keeping time of possession. Like, that's all game management, man, and that's all Mac Jones had to do yesterday. I mean, he completed 2 out of 3 passes, 66%, yay. Add that to his average, whatever. But the fact is, he stayed within the game plan. They didn't turn the ball over. They weren't reckless, and they got the W. And that's Belichick smart football, and that's how you have to. I'm telling you, I didn't, obviously, when the season started, I was a little skeptical because I'm like, he's got his quarterback, but we'll see how Mac proceeds and how he, matures. But as the weeks went on, you saw it. And I told you, like I said, I've kind of been saying this for weeks. Watch out for the Patriots, man. They're for real. Belichick's got them playing. He's got them believing. They got their starters back on defense. And right now, they are the team to beat because everybody else just seems to not want to grab that top spot. They all beat each other. They're all jumbled in there. Like you said, Pittsburgh beating Baltimore, and then the Chargers beating the Bengals, and then, Patriots beating Buffalo yesterday. These guys are all circling their wagons with beating each other. And it's just eventually it's got to flush out. And I'll be honest with you, if it stays this 7 teams, I wouldn't be surprised. I know Sydney doesn't want to hear this, but I don't think Pittsburgh has enough to overcome to make the playoffs. I've said 2 weeks ago I didn't think the Colts would make it because of Carson Wentz. And for right now, they're not in. So I'm going to stick with that prediction as well. Like you said, the Vegas and Denver probably will cancel each other out. They're in the same division. So when you think about it, and again, this is what we're talking about. The way for Bobby's Miami Dolphins to get in is to win those last 4, possibly, which is really, I think, the only way they can honestly get in. As much as I know Bobby's aware of that too, but I'm just saying.
No, I agree.
I think the Dolphins do have to win those last 4 to have a shot to finish that 10-7 and see where everybody else shuffles out at. But I think you're pretty much looking at, though, with the AFC right now, as long as those guys don't self-implode entirely,
right?
I think you're looking at the 7 playoff teams in the AFC. Just my opinion, of course.
Nice.
But I think those 7 somehow flush out. They may change positions a few more times in the next 4 weeks, but I think you're looking at who I think the 7 teams will be in the AFC for the playoffs.
Nice. Gotta shout out some of the people who are watching. We always gotta show love because we're coming to the NFC with Wendy saying hello, guys.
Well, hello,
What's
Wendy.
up, Wendy?
Packer extraordinaire fan.
What's up, Wendy? And she said something up here.
She said the Green Bay's gonna beat the Bears, but who cares? You have to beat Arizona.
Captain Obvious.
Yeah, you guys
we
get
don't
so
matter.
sensitive when she says that. Every time anybody talks about your Bears, y'all just get all up on this.
I'm sorry.
This is what she was saying. She said Big Ben is going to retire after this season for the Steelers. That is crazy. When we actually talk about that.
I'm sorry. Are you talking about us Bear fans when I've seen you and the Dallas fans go at it, but we're sensitive?
Right. You watch the and see it actually talk about how the Bears are or how the Cowboys are.
Compared to the rest of you, Delilah and I are the most sane people in this chat group.
Really?
You guys are all delusional with
my
your
friend.
teams.
Really?
Are you
kidding? I'm the most sane.
I'm just
wait a minute. Let's go back to the videotape that I watch like 4 times a day.
I'm sane.
What's your videotape?
You can huff and puff all you want, Nick boy. You don't know about all that.
What's your videotape?
This videotape every show we do, man. Come on, yo. I'm moving on. Delilah, since you mentioned it earlier, we're talking about the NFC. You got Arizona's the number 1 seed, and by far, I think they're ahead of the pack. I mean, what do you think, Delilah?
I think that I feel like their schedule is the easiest, right? I knew they were gonna kick our butts. Like I called it. I was like, of course Arizona's gonna win. And I think that I think they have the easiest schedule, except like the Rams, right? That's gonna be fun to watch. But outside of that, because they're the Monday night game, which thank God they finally picked a fun one. It's Rams and Cardinals. And so I think that right there, that honestly right there is going to tell us who the Rams are more so than the Cardinals, right? Because Kyler Murray came back from his injury and showed us what he could do. He knows that he can count on his players. He came out, Hopkins did his thing, right? These guys have been dying to come back. They came back and they got the W. And even though I just want points, but so just give me some fantasy points, Cup and Stafford. That's all I really care about. But I can see the Cardinals getting W in that game. But we might be seeing a future playoff game there, right? Like depending on how things pan out. So right. And so that's gonna be something to watch. But I don't see how the Cardinals could lose that number 1 spot, because you know who they play after that? The Lions.
Yeah. Exactly.
No offense. I know they got the W against Minnesota.
That's
but
right.
Minnesota is not the Cardinals, right? We know that. That's a whole different ball game there, right?
You want to crown them, go ahead and crown them.
Right.
And it's kind of funny, Delilah, because it's almost like Kyler just set out for a month. I mean, obviously he was hurt, but he rested for a month, and now it's like he's coming ready to go.
Right? He's ready
for playoff time.
And so I think it'll be interesting to see who does end up with that number 1 seed, like eventually, right? We know Green Bay got it last year, but they lost to the Bucks, and so we'll see. But I feel like Cardinals got that lockdown. Like unless they really decide to just all of a sudden just start playing like Dookie after they got their 2 top players back, right? And Kyler and Hopkins, I just don't see them dropping, a bunch of games.
Right.
You know what's great about the fact that the Cardinals are winning is that their coach is Cliff Kingsbury, one of the most like attention-seeking college football coaches of all time, right? When he coached in college, and people were like, "This guy's going to fall flat on his face when he comes to the pros. He's got no, this isn't the job for him. He's not going to be successful." And look at his team now, first place, 9-9. I'm just saying, way to go, Cliff. Not just that,
he's the only play caller. They don't have an offensive coordinator, so I want people to think about that.
Like people said, Cliff, he's not going to be successful. He's a college coach, yada yada yada. And look at his team now, sitting atop the old NFC. How about that?
I think in the NFC of all those seeds, I think 7 is the one that probably could switch. I hope not for your sake. It'll be nice to see y'all go.
Realistically, Delilah, I mean, we control our own destiny.
Yeah.
I mean, people could say I'm
But I can
pumping
see
smoke,
San
but
Francisco
when I say
dropping
we're
off.
running the table, when I say we're running the table,
Yeah.
the 4 games that I was worried about was the 4 games that we just won. You know what I mean? The NFC East, I feel like these are divisional games, which, as you said, we've all said they hit differently. So these are the games where all it matters is who gets up for it. Who's the one who really wants it? Who's the one who's pushing for it? Hey, I personally think that we can run the table, but when I say run the table, does that mean a full 5-game winning streak? No, maybe that means 4-1. Maybe that means 3-2. But we're already undefeated in the NFC East. So to have a positive record in the NFC East and getting a victory over a Dallas team is something we obviously need to do.
Well, that's the importance of your whole plan here
with them. But Delilah, what do you think about? You got Philly down here. You said the 7th seed is one we're worried about. So
I feel like 7 is up for grabs for sure. I think of everything else, because if you look at the numbers, I don't know what happened with Philly, but I know Ash hates them, but they kind of turned it around, right? They haven't completely wowed everybody, but they also didn't drop it doesn't mean that they'll nab that 7. It depends on San Francisco. I think 7 comes down to, can San Francisco hold on to it, right? If they choke, I think that's where the opportunity comes in, right? I think that's how the 7 changes. Is San Francisco just waste the next few weeks? It's
gonna be quite interesting, and also I think it changes on the fact that the NFC East. I don't know who made the schedule, but I mean, not just Washington.
Y'all play each other. That's all
play each other. It's a pinball effect. So that's going to be something where I can seriously see Philly trying to make a run, but they're going to have to figure out that quarterback situation, and Miles Sanders is going to have to get some attention. But
this is what I'm saying. Who the 49ers play next? The Bengals. Right? Yep. So it's very possible, and the Bengals want to maintain their seed, right? They don't want to drop down, right? Yep. They have a pretty good spot. It's not great, but it's better, right? And so Joe Burrows and the Bengals are going to go in there saying, you know what, we have to maintain our seed, right? And so that 49ers Bengals game is going to be interesting, because I feel like that's a winnable game for the Bengals, but we'll see.
But they're both in the same spot in their respective divisions.
They are.
Third in the West.
Bengals are higher when it comes to playoff contention, though, right? Like seeding.
Well, right. Yeah, they're 6th and San Francisco 7th. Yeah.
And so that's going to come down to that.
What about Minnesota, Carolina, Atlanta, New Orleans?
I think Minnesota messed up, but again, it comes down to, it feels interesting that you have teams who are vying for these final spots, right, are not even in the same conference, because the next game is Steelers and Minnesota, and both of these teams need to win in order to actually be in contention, right? So both teams are going, I have to win. And so I think that's what's going to go. It's tricky because we've seen it before. We don't know which Kirk Cousins is going to show up. We don't know what Minnesota team is going to show up, right? And so sometimes he beats teams he's not supposed to beat, right? We've seen it in the season. He's like, how'd you win this game? And then he loses to teams he shouldn't, right? Like he lost to Detroit. So I don't know. I think it's going to be who wants it more, I guess. Or who messes up most. But they're not playing football. Right. They're not playing. Exactly. They're not playing against each other in the same conference, but both of them are fighting to at least move up, right, in their conferences, and so they could make playoffs. And so that's what I find interesting is next week you're gonna have a lot of teams playing that, even though they're not in the same conference, they both have to win. You know what I mean? And so I have no idea what next week will show us, because even experts can't. I every expert who I've been reading is we honestly can't call the playoffs completely, except for maybe a few teams, right? Because look at all these ties. You look at how many you just rattled off, and then look at everybody tied that are in the running. And so honestly, we don't know who's gonna end up in the playoffs, but
it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting, but like we've talked about, it's gonna probably go down to the
very
last
week. And it seems more solid, though, I think.
Yeah. It's going to probably go down to the last week,
For sure.
that is absolutely how we would want it. All intents and purposes, hey, I'm excited. We won 4 in a row, but we're going, like I said, against divisional matchups. And hey, it could go either way. I mean, look, we hit 4, but we could easily drop a couple, and then all this is for naught. And at the same time, I'm not really worried about, because if we went out, they were probably going to be in the same daggone situation we were in coming into this year. So. I'm very, I'm very realistic with that. I've always been. That's what we do on Let's Talk Football. That's definitely something to look for. I'm very, very, very excited. Really quickly, I'm going to go down the line.
By saying that, Ash, then that means that you agree, because if the Eagles stay out and Washington wins out, that means they're going to be in the playoffs, which is fine.
We can both. Washington and Dallas can still both get in.
That's what I'm saying. So, so basically, like, you'll both.
Somebody's got to win the division. So yeah.
But hey, look, I agree with her though, especially at this time of the year, man. F Dallas, F Philly, F New York. Forget all of them. I hate them. That's what it is. And take it wherever you want to take it, man. Because look, they are directly in my way to getting into the playoffs. So
give them to us. We'll take care of them for you.
There you go. I'm with that.
I'm telling you, bro. Let's see what happens.
It's going to be something else.
I'm just saying that by default, you're rooting on Washington. That's all I'm saying, Ash and David. I'm just saying by default.
That's perfect. You got to root for somebody.
By default.
Good. Let him root for us. Good. I like that. Like Kirk said,
the other big game for me this week, Bucks and Bills.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Because this is where the Bills could drop out of the playoffs.
Tom Brady. Oh my God, that dude does not want to drop, and he does not want to drop in the seeds. And he wants a chance, if it's possible, if at all possible, if a miracle happens and the Patriots end up winning the AFC. Do you know how badly Tom Brady's gonna want to win the NFC again? Just so he can play against the Patriots and Bill.
That'd be interesting.
Like, that man is competitive 100%. I don't care what you guys think about him. All I'm saying is this is Bill, who's one of the best coaches, right? We know that. Look at what he did, right? And then you have Tom Brady, regardless of how you feel about him, one of the greatest, quarterbacks to play the game. Yep. You're trying to tell me he's not going to try to will himself? If it's possible, the possibility for them to face each other.
Yeah, I agree.
In the Super Bowl.
Bill definitely wants Tom. And
Bill and vice versa. I know Tom Brady is competitive as heck.
If Bobby and his Miami Dolphins have anything to say about it.
Right.
I'm saying as a competitive man,
Washington, Miami Super Bowl. Forget those guys.
Yeah, right.
Miami. Can you imagine?
Run it back the third time, baby. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Can you imagine? Oh my God! Oh, that's hilarious. What a Super Bowl! No one.
I don't want to see that again.
No one ever.
I saw that.
That'd be beautiful. I love it. I love it. All right, we are gonna go ahead and move on. Nick, what you got? Nick's picks, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's what you got. I tell you what I got.
Let's go.
Well, of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we had another 500 week. We went 2-2 again last week, bringing the season total to 23-29. So still under 500. Still battling it every week, though. Picking games I think are logical. And again, some days I go off on a tangent, but most times I try to stay within the logic of what's happening. What are you going to do? The Buccaneers kick a last-second field goal, or I would have won that Atlanta game. So we're 2-2, though. We're 23-29. So let's go ahead and get into what we got you for this week. As always, I picked 4 games on the upcoming slate of games to pick for you. First game here, and again, this will get Sydney Switton's attention. It's Pittsburgh and Minnesota. This one I find very interesting because, again, the Vikings are coming off that Lions loss, and the Steelers are coming off that big win in Baltimore. But the Vikings are a 3.5-point favorite, and they're giving up 3.5 points to Pittsburgh. And I find that very intriguing coming off of what just happened this past week. So I am going to roll. I'm going to take actually Pittsburgh getting 3.5 points at Minnesota on Thursday Night Football. on Thursday night. Now, the next game, and again, I know this is going to sound kind of crazy, but looking at all the games, I'm going to take on this next one as well. Dallas and Washington, right? The Sean Spencer special and the Janae Struther, maybe it'll end a friendship, maybe it won't after this week because it's rivalry week, baby, and it's intense.
It means something again.
We've been through this twice a year, 5 times already.
I know, but I'm just giving you some. I'm trying to hype something up, man. What are you doing? Come on.
It's already hype, man. We want Dallas.
No, you don't.
But today, we want Detroit.
You want right. Yeah, exactly. But the Cowboys are a -4. Favored to win by more than 4 points, of course, is what that means. But Sean is confident that his Washington football and little Taylor Heineken, I know it's Heineke, but little Taylor Heineken can overcome the gentle Cowboys. I honestly think this is going to be a pretty good game because it's a battle of Dallas's offense and your defense. And I think that in this particular week, because I know people are waiting to hear what I have to say here, I'm going to roll with Washington in +4 and take Washington +4 against Dallas this week on that game. Now, my next game, for all of you football lovers, here's one that interests me only because people always, you have these teams you always beat on, right? And there's a game this week that I find extremely intriguing because it's Seattle versus Houston. Now, mind you, Seattle, since Russ has been back, they've been struggling and looking for whatever. But again, you're playing the Texans, who can't even manage to throw to their best receiver they have. The Seahawks are giving up 7.5 points, and I'm going to take Seattle, I think, in a breakout game that gets them at least back on the horse offensively. But all the weapons they have and the terrible secondary that Houston has, I will take Seattle and -7.5 points against the Texans on Sunday. And for my final game, this is one I'm not sure I understand, but what the heck? What do I know about betting lines, right? I'm only 23 and 29, so I'm going to take here Baltimore and Cleveland we got on Sunday, 1 o'clock. The Browns are a 2.5-point favorite. I don't get that, but okay. I'll take Baltimore +2.5 against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday because I just don't know if the Browns have figured out who they are or what Baker Mayfield actually is. So those are my 4 games for this week, boys and girls. Again, Uncle Nicky's in a little bit of a slump. We're 23 and 29. Can I get to 500 before the season ends? We will find out. So those are my 4 games for this week. Thank you for listening. I'm Nick Rosario, and ice cream runs through my veins.
There you go. There you go. Hey, I believe it. I believe it could happen. David Wright said, "Stop losing my money, damn it."
Hey, man.
It happens.
I love you, buddy. I appreciate
need to block that guy.
Rolling with me, right? I appreciate the fact you obviously keep rolling with me that I'm losing you money. Hey,
still betting.
I think everybody's getting messed up in betting this year, though, except for a few lucky people. So it's not just y'all. Like everybody's hurting because again, it's unpredictable.
There's a lot of games where the line's not even. It's off the books.
Yeah.
Tagline.
I've taken a pretty good bath this year.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm 23 and 29. I'm usually never that bad.
Right.
It's like, I'm taking a bath this year in some of this stuff.
Hey, he said ride or die, big fella. There you go.
Hey, that's why I'm here every week for you, baby. I'm here for you.
There you go.
Who said that about Rodgers? I said that and everybody thought I was crazy.
No, my guy Kyle Yacy said lots of rumors that Rodgers is going to Pittsburgh. Can you imagine?
I said the same
my God.
thing.
Hey, they're all rumors. We also heard a lot of stuff in the offseason about Watson and Russell Wilson and all that.
Yeah, but Watson had problems.
Real quick, I do want to take a minute, man. Kyle, I'm glad you're watching, man. I wanted to take a minute to shout out your grandfather. I know you were talking about he had passed, so I just want to, send my condolences to you and your family, man. Hope it's a rough time you're dealing with this, man, especially in the holiday season, man. So just want to let you know, man. Hey, the Let's Talk family is definitely here for you, man, because that's rough. I've been down. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough, bro. So, appreciate you joining us, man.
Same.
Appreciate you joining us and definitely rocking. Got to shout out my guy, Kyle Yacy, who's a diehard Atlanta Falcons fan, like Anthony Handy. So actually doing a lot better than, I expected. 5-7 ain't bad, all things considering. I didn't think they were going to win 5. I didn't think they went 5. So
they're still out of contention, though. Apparently,
Yeah, 2 of those games were against us.
No, right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I don't know how much we can.
Yo,
so real quick on, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Bobby, you're already here, man. This is the end of the show, so we're just gonna keep you with us, man. You became part of the show today, man.
There you go.
It's like I have to work.
Sorry, Bobby. We're done. Bobby, I'll let you start.
Right?
So if you gotta go, you gotta go. Yo, and then the last segment is one last word. Yeah, buddy. Where we hear one last word, something that's just on our minds. Bobby, Wills, I appreciate your time. One last word, man. What you got?
Last word. Some of those teams that I need to lose this weekend, please do. Help these guys out. We're gonna be sitting at home watching this week, so yeah, help us out.
Yeah, get the W. I love that. Let's go, Nick. What you got?
Christmas.
Right.
Again, you know me, I'm a fun-loving, jovial guy, but I do want to get serious for one moment. Andrew Faison, and you're going, okay, who was Andrew Faison? Andrew Faison was a good buddy of mine. Drew passed away this week in Dallas of a brain aneurysm, unexpectedly, 57 years old. But a guy I met here in Chicago over 15 years ago. We became fast friends. Music, our love of music, just reading books, like just the stuff that we talked about, like nonsense, even like just a good dude, an all-around nice guy. But unfortunately, that happened. So, my buddy Drew, this is for you, buddy. Dedicate this show to you. Rest easy, my friend. Again, these things are obviously unexpected. Again, life is life. These things happen. You don't always see it coming. But, again, that's why I say, folks, I try my best. And I go, I'm only one man. But I try to enjoy life as much as I can. Laugh, the Jim Valvano speech, for those of you who, if you ever want to look it up, the Valvano Foundation was started after Jim Valvano gave a speech at the last ESPYs he was at. And he's like, it's a good day when you can cry, laugh. I think it's cry, laugh, and there's another word. I'm forgetting it right now. But if you can do all 3 of those in one day, man, you're having a great day. And it's so true. Like, live your life, guys. Enjoy. Do the best you can. Be a decent person. Just, all that good stuff. So thank you, guys. I love all you guys for being here, for supporting us, for being on the air with us, giving me crap about my Bears, all that good stuff. So keep it coming. I'm always prepared. I got big shoulders. City of big shoulders. That's right, Chicago, baby. Represent. I'm always here. So thank you, and love you guys.
Yeah, great speech all the time. Yeah. Sorry to hear that, Nick. Delilah, what you got?
Basically, what I kind of want to say is, just like the song goes, put a little love in your heart, right? It's just happy holidays. It was the last day of Hanukkah the other day, heading into the Christmas season, and then Kwanzaa and everything in between that everybody celebrates. And so I think it's a good day to just kind of remember that. Put a little love in your heart, because we need it. I know we say this every day, but it's like it's so important. Every small moment matters, like, because we can't fix the world like this, but we can do our small part, right? Individual little moments. When you spread love, you could change a life and you don't even know it, right? When you spread kindness, say a kind word, say a kind thing, you might just change somebody's kind of whole perspective, their whole day, right? And so, like, honestly, let's put a little love in your heart and let's just keep going the whole year round. But this is the year to kind of, this is the season to kind of elevate that and kind of spread that and try to grow as much as possible. I really do believe that there's more positive than negative. We just see so much more negative because it just overshadows so much. But yeah, put a little love in your hearts, everybody.
Lesser division rivals.
For sure.
Way to bring it back, David.
Well, it's true, but when it comes down to players, we love the players too, right? Individually, and we know that, right? And so rivalry is one thing, but when it comes down to individual players, when people get hurt, I do appreciate this group, by the way. When players get hurt, regardless who it is, no one says, good, great, because I don't wish that on anybody. And so I got to give props to this group. for never taking that rivalry so far that you're excited when someone is seriously injured. So kudos to y'all being stand-up people for that.
I can dig it. Anthony Handy sent us the short URL. I wanted to.
Thanks, Handy.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, if you wanted to get some of the shirts that you see Delilah and Nicholas wearing, those were created by Anthony Handy, Zagnef Productions. Mr. Fingers is his DJ karaoke name. Used to be a DJ karaoke for 18 years, balling out. So, there you go, Mr. Fingers. Appreciate you. I said sorry to hear about your friend, Nick.
Thank you. Appreciate
Sean, what's your last word?
Right. Sean didn't give a last word.
Nothing. Bobby, appreciate you, man. Absolutely appreciate you being on here. I know, hey, you got to get up, crack of dawn. I did not know that. And I know that I would have cut you off early.
It's not fun, but got to do it.
I understand it. So I just appreciate that. Appreciate the availability and
appreciate you having me.
Oh yeah. And obviously,
fun.
What's up, Nick?
Nothing. I'm just
I thought you
pointing along, buddy. Doing my thing.
Dave said, "Go to sleep, Bobby." He said, "Go to sleep, Bobby."
I entertain myself, Sean. I'll be over here singing to myself. Don't mind me.
Hey, Sean and I will be on the way to Arizona on Monday after that victory, so don't worry.
Are you?
We'll be there.
You going to Arizona?
Wait, are those the steaks? Are we all supposed to fly to Arizona for steaks, David?
Here it comes. What did I do?
Only if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl.
I'll go down even if they don't. If he's gonna make me some steaks.
Get the parade route ready.
Oh yeah. Get the floats ready.
I don't do well done steaks, sir. I like steaks the right way.
I don't like well done steaks, sir.
He said, "Get on down here. We are on the way." All right, they're saying good night, guys.
Good night, everybody. Yeah.
We will be with you. Appreciate you guys. Bobby, appreciate you, buddy. We will definitely see you next time. Bye-bye.
All right.